Greetings, travelers. I'm your host, the C. That Knows a Lot, Dr. Waluigi. Yep, you read the title of this episode correctly. There was, in fact, a comic book adaptation of the 1987 movie. Now, many would question why anyone would want to do an adaptation of one of the biggest flops of all time, but keep in mind that many people don't get the chance to watch movies in theaters either because it's too expensive or because they don't have the time. So, a comic book, which is cheaper and can tell the same story, makes sense from a marketing standpoint. Plus, as Linkara has pointed out, many bad movies got comic book adaptations, like Batman and Robin. So, will this be a comic book that surpasses the movie, or will be as big of a bomb as the movie was? This is Masters of the Universe, the motion picture, the comic. The comic was released on November 1st, 1987, 3 months after the release of the film. It was released by Star Comics, who were an imprint of Marvel Comics. The comic was written by Ralph Macchio, no, not that one, and was edited by Bob Budiansky. Star Comics were no stranger to working on He-Man, as they had also worked on a 13-issue series that I've never read. But from what I've heard, it is a good comic run that included characters from the She-Ra series as well. But will this comic be any good compared to the movie? I haven't read a lot of comics that are based on movies, but from reading this comic, I can see why they're almost non-existent. It follows the same plot of the movie and doesn't change that much, except for the ending. Yeah, this is where the comic deviates from the movie by having Skeletor not gain the power of Grayskull and has no alternate form. And instead of having this climactic and epic battle in the castle, it instead takes place on top of the skull of Castle Grayskull, where Skeletor falls to his death, which is something that I don't really like. I found that it took away the epic battle between He-Man and Skeletor, as it showed them on equal footing, but by not having Skeletor's power increase, the battle is won too quickly and we don't get to see the epic clash of two masters of the universe. I get that this is a comic book and that they can't do the same thing that a movie can do, but if you can't capture the same effect that a movie is able to do, why even try to do so with a lesser format? The art for this comic is very unimpressive when compared to the movie. Evelyn Stein, Mike Zeek, George Tuska, and Janice Chang did the art, and I will say that while the comic is impressive and accurate to the show, the movie does look better. One complaint that I know many fans have is that the movie didn't look anything like the sci-fantasy world of Eternia from the cartoon, and if you're looking for that, the comic does deliver. The first few pages are drawn to look like Eternia from the show, and the designs from Earth look like something you'd find in a Marvel comic of the time. But that does lead to the comic lacking any kind of grand and epic style when they're adapting a movie. The character designs range from great with the designs of the heroes from the show, but the designs of the villains range from on point to kind of racist. Yeah, I don't get why, but for some weird reason they made Blade look like a racist Asian stereotype from the 40s. Like I said, while the comic tries to stay close to the show, the movie stands out a little bit more for the action scenes and the character designs. While this isn't the most expensive comic I've come across, only averaging about $40, I don't think that it's worth the effort to buy it unless you're a huge He-Man fan. And even then, you're better off just watching the movie. It's more fun and looks a lot better than the comic does. I give Masters of the Universe, the motion picture comic, a 3 out of 10. It's just an unimpressive bore that doesn't compare to the original movie. Thanks for watching, I'm Dr. Waluigi. And remember, don't judge a book by its cover, cause you'll never know what's inside. Good night, everyone.